Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Will couldn't believe he was having a baby with Luna. Bill took full responsibility for getting Luna out of prison, but Katie blamed Lai. She felt like Lai faking Luna's death was what paved the way for her to take advantage of Will. His family was there for him, but he couldn't think about himself. His priority still remained with Electra. Will stated, "I'm having a baby with a manic. That kid is going to be born in a prison cell. It's insane, all of it, and I hate that Electra has to deal with all of this." Katie reminded Will that Electra was standing by him throughout all of it, but he wasn't convinced that she could withstand the pressure of Luna. He was worried she'd eventually bail because of the chaos involved with the pregnancy. Lai paced in her office, and she braced for a confrontation with Finn. She didn't have to wait long because he quickly entered and said, "Luna is alive because of you." She couldn't let Luna die, and she wanted her to have another chance to get things right. During their argument, Poppy walked in, and Finn stunned her and revealed Luna's newly resurrected state. Poppy couldn't believe her eyes, and she didn't think it was funny. Finn asserted it wasn't a joke and that Lai saved her life. Lai defended her actions and highlighted the details of Luna's recovery. She thought Poppy was in shock, but Finn confirmed it was all true. Luna was alive, and he'd witnessed it firsthand. She finally processed it and proclaimed to everyone, "That little bitch is actually alive." Lai and Finn were floored by her declaration. She berated Lai for playing God again. She recalled when Lai saved Finn in a similar manner. Luna tried to frame Poppy for a slew of murders, so her mother had no love for her anymore. Lai was disgusted at her sister's actions, but she demanded to know Luna's whereabouts. At first, Poppy was pleased to hear that her criminal offspring was locked away in a prison cell. However, she was entirely blindsided by the revelation that she and Finn were set to be grandparents. She wondered if it was a one-night stand with a random man, but Lai brought up Poppy's past. Poppy couldn't believe that Bill Spencer was the baby's grandfather and asked which of Bill's sons was the father. After learning the identity, Poppy appeared to have a demeanor shift, which signaled she might see an angle for herself in all of it. Back at Forrester Creations, Brooke gave her opinion on the designer submissions for Hope for the future. She felt like none of them were a good fit except for the one secretly submitted by Deke. Everyone thought whoever was behind the creations had an intimate knowledge of Hope. The designer nailed every aspect of Hope's aesthetic, something that amazed Hope. She had everyone submit anonymously, but it was time to confirm the identity of her chosen designer. Everyone asserted it was time to get in touch with the person behind the designs, so things could progress further. Carter found a phone number for the designer attached to the portfolio, and they agreed to call them. Soon, everyone would know that Dake was the mystery designer they were raving about. Carter felt like, since it was Hope's line, she should do the honors and make the call. Dake flashed back to his discussion with Hope, which led to his gamble to submit the designs. Electra entered the design room, and Deke quickly introduced himself. He already knew who she was, and he was quite impressed by her. They were both elated at the return of Hope's line, and like everyone else, Electra asked Deke why he hadn't asked Hope to secure him a job. They both wanted to secure or maintain their spots in their careers on their own merits. He confessed that he placed his portfolio anonymously with the more seasoned designers. Electra came to the conclusion that Dake's sneaky move was what had him on edge. Dake's phone rang, and he told Electra that it was Hope. She was speechless at the idea of Dake on the other end of the line. She asked for his immediate presence in the CEO's room, and he said he'd be right over. It was the number he put down on his portfolio, so he had a hunch he was the chosen one. Dake confirmed he was the face behind the designs, but he didn't want her to know it was him. Like he previously stated, he had to earn this spot on the merit of his talent as a designer. Ridge was impressed with the designs, and he loved everything about them. Nobody could believe that Dake was the face behind the new designers, and they praised how much he encapsulated Hope as a brand. Ridge recognized that Hope wanted to work with Dake, so they officially invited him on board as a designer at Forrester Creations. They couldn't believe it, but Hope was beyond proud. Will arrived at Forrester and reminded Electra that she had a choice in all of the chaos. These comments, right here, right now, with you. You know that you are the only girl I love, right? Remember that promise we made? Somehow, someway, we will get through this together. Always together. Will and Electra embraced after his declaration, but the look plastered on Electra's face spoke volumes. She was in so far over her head. The bold and the beautiful recap October 17 was nothing short of explosive as emotions boiled over. Loyalties were tested, and unexpected alliances began to form in ways that could shake the very foundations of Los Angeles. Will and Electra's fragile relationship stood on the edge of heartbreak as old wounds reopened. Poppy and Lee's decades-long sibling rivalry reignited in a fiery confrontation over Luna's future, and Hope Logan made a daring business move that left the fashion world buzzing, and her family stunned when she announced Dake as her new designer. From the opening moments of the day's drama, it was clear that nothing on this day would remain untouched by chaos or consequence. Will and Electra, once the golden couple whose love seemed unbreakable, found themselves facing truths neither was ready to admit. In the dimly lit living room of the Forrester guest house, Will stared into the fire, his mind swirling with doubt and guilt, while Electra stood near the window, her reflection trembling as much as her hands. The air between them was heavy with words unsaid, accusations unspoken, and promises broken. "I thought we were stronger than this," Electra finally said, her voice barely above a whisper, her eyes glistening with tears that refused to fall. Will turned, his jaw tight, his heart pounding, the weight of his choices pressing against his chest. "We were," he said softly, "until the truth got in the way." That truth, of course, was the lingering presence of another woman, a reminder of Will's mistakes, a ghost haunting their once perfect love. Electra, still raw from betrayal, questioned whether forgiveness could ever replace the pain. As their argument escalated, years of love clashed with moments of anger, and the future they once dreamed of seemed to fade before their eyes. Yet, beneath all the hurt, there was still that spark, the unspoken understanding that they could not exist without each other, no matter how deep the scars ran. While Will and Electra wrestled with their hearts, across town, another storm was brewing at the Poppy and Lie Showdown. The sisters, long estranged and divided by choices made long ago, found themselves at odds once again over Luna. Lie, fiercely protective and determined to maintain control, confronted Poppy with all the intensity of a woman who believed she had done everything right. "You've always been reckless," Lie snapped, her tone sharp as a blade. "And now your recklessness has dragged Luna into a mess she doesn't deserve." Poppy, hurt but defiant, shot back, "Don't talk to me about messes, Lie. You've built your whole life on pretending to be perfect. At least I'm honest about my mistakes." The tension in the Forrester Creations office was unbearable as their voices echoed off the walls, drawing glances from curious onlookers. Luna stood frozen between them, her heart breaking as she watched the two women she loved most in the world tear each other apart. Her mother's tears, her aunt's rage, it was too much. She begged them to stop, her voice trembling, but neither could hear her over the roar of decades-old resentment. The truth about Luna's past, her paternity, and the choices that brought her to this moment hovered like a ticking time bomb waiting to explode. When Lay accused Poppy of filling Luna's head with dreams instead of discipline, Poppy countered that Lie had crushed every ounce of joy with her relentless control. "You wanted to raise soldiers," Poppy said bitterly. "I wanted to raise a dreamer." Their argument wasn't just about Luna, it was about who they had become. In that moment, Luna realized that she would have to forge her own path, one that neither of them could dictate. With tears streaming down her face, she fled the room, leaving her mother and aunt to confront the wreckage of their relationship. Meanwhile, in another corner of the Forrester universe, Hope Logan made a decision that could change everything. Still reeling from recent heartbreak and professional setbacks, Hope stood in her office, staring at the sketches spread out before her. She had built her brand, Hope for the Future, on idealism and beauty, but lately her creative spark had dimmed. The betrayal of love and the uncertainty of her place in the fashion house had left her restless. And then came Dake. Once dismissed as a has-been, Dake had spent years trying to redeem himself, to prove he still had talent and heart. When Hope reached out to him with an offer to join her line as lead designer, jaws dropped across the fashion world. Brooke was stunned. Ridge questioned her judgment.